So our first speaker this afternoon, if you are familiar and from the Mid-Missouri area, you may recognize his voice from the 93.9 The Eagle, Mike Ferguson, the voice of Afternoon Drive Time in Columbia.
Thank you very much, Carl. I was really excited and also scared when he asked me to come speak because it's exciting to be around my fellow patriots and my fellow grassroots conservatives. And then it's scary because I'm going to be on the same stage and podium with Herman Cain. And how do you measure up speaking alongside Herman Cain? I do thank you for being here today. You know, I appreciate it because, as Carl just said, it's not easy for all of us to get here. It's not easy to take that time to get here in the middle of a workday. It's not easy because we do have jobs. I mean, somebody's got to pay for all this stuff. Somebody's got to pay for the spending, and that falls on us. It's also not easy because we'd rather be with our families. We'd rather be tending to the things that are important to us, but somebody has to stand up and make sure that their freedoms are still intact, not just today, but also tomorrow. And that's why this is so important. It's also not easy because some of us have to travel to get here. Springfield, from all over the state, it can be a hassle. Some of us are from nearby, some of us are from far away. I thank God for all of you to be here, but it's important that all of our elected officials, our elected representatives, understand clearly that we are united as a state and we are united as a people, and we are not going away. Our voices are not going to diminish or be silenced. No, it is not easy, but for the hope of our state and the hope of our nation, that hope lies with people just like you who are willing to do what is not easy. The hope of our state and the hope of our nation lies with those who are willing to do what's not convenient. The hope of our state, the hope of our nation, well, it's in your hands. It's in our hands. Would you agree with that? The hands of those who are committed to doing whatever we need to do to make sure our voices are heard. Not just our voices here, but for the thousands who could not make it here today. The voices for constitutionally limited, fiscally sound government that respects our God-given individual freedoms of every Missourian here in this state. And that's why we're here today. We're here to remind our employees, don't forget, our employees, that we have high expectations. We have demanding deadlines. We are watching carefully. We are here to remind them that our patience has limits. We want to see results each and every day. Real results, real spending cuts, not just here, but in Washington, D.C. as well. Real efforts to safeguard our personal freedoms from an overreaching government. Now, what I've seen in the past, say, 2 years, across this nation, across this state, it's been exciting. I haven't seen anything like that before, and I've been doing this media and political thing for about 15 years. And we're just getting started. That's what's really exciting about this. While our liberal friends like to denigrate us, okay, they can denigrate the grassroots conservatives, they can denigrate the Tea Party activists, constitutionalists, whatever label it is that you're okay with applying to yourself. Let's make no mistake, we're having a very, very real impact. Let me ask you this, without us, would they have put Proposition C on the ballot without us? So that we could take a stand for our health care freedom? Without us, would this legislature's leaders have the motivation to cut $250 million from borrowed, interest-bearing federal stimulus spending without us? No, they would not. Of course not. Most of them would be content to get on the campaign trail and speak out against wasteful spending, but they wouldn't take a stand when it comes time to cash that check. I think we know that, most of them. They cave into the media voices who still believe Uncle Sam's money's free. They cave into the special interest voices that want the spending but don't want to pay the bill. They're happy to leave that part to us and our children and our grandchildren. So we're not just standing up here. We are being heard. Don't let anybody tell you that we're not. We are making a difference, and we are leading the way and showing other states that we can reapply those bounds of the Constitution to the federal government while we keep the pressure on the state government. And that did not start with politicians, my friends. That started with you. That started with me. That started with everybody who's been involved in the grassroots activism over the last 10 years. Let me ask you, weren't the founding fathers brilliant to include that little 10th Amendment in the Bill of Rights? We here in Missouri are having an impact on the entire nation while minding our own backyard. That's what happens when we, normal, hardworking Missourians, decide that we have had enough and we're taking our state government back, and we are part of that citizen uprising that's taken our nation back this very day. And that brings me back to why we are here right now. We've stood up and we've stood together. We've educated ourselves, we've informed each other, we've recruited and supported freedom-minded, fiscally sound candidates, and we've challenged big government candidates, and we've impacted the very leadership structure of this legislature. There are people with more power now because that's what the grassroots wanted. There are people that should not have more power that don't because of this grassroots structure. We're not afraid to speak up. We're not afraid to hold those who represent us accountable, and it doesn't matter which party they come from. Nobody gets a free pass. But we're not done. We're just getting started, right? Because we still have work to do. We still have bad legislation to fight and good legislation to support. We still have establishment, big government incumbents to oppose. And you know what? Yeah, now we do have some good limited government incumbents who actually listen to us and deserve our support. That, my friends, is why it is important for us to be here today. Those who make the decisions in this building behind me need to hear from us clearly, and they need to hear from us often. Like I said a moment ago, that's not always easy to do when you work for a living and you provide for your family, but the challenge ahead of us is not easy either. It's monumental. Are we ready for that challenge? Can we continue to make that difference? Let me quote a politician I heard once. He said, "Yes, we can." And yes, we are. Thank you for being here. Most importantly, thank you for caring enough about our state and about our nation to do what is hard, to do what's needed, to do what patriots are expected to do when our nation is in crisis. I am proud to be a part of it in some small way, whatever way I can help, alongside you as we prepare for the next steps in this journey. Thank you for listening. As I say on the air every day, God bless you. God bless America.
Thank you, Mike. So now you know where you're supposed to be. Have your radio dial tuned to the afternoons.